I just spent a month in LA. I hadn't planned to make a video, so I haven't really taped very much, but I had some photos and I thought that I'll just give my thoughts about life in LA after having visited there. From this trip, the one thing I would say is LA is really big and spread out. I've always known that. I've been there a few times before, but only for a couple days. But this time, having spent over a month, I had a chance to really get a sense of the city and get to know some of the areas. Overall, I was staying in Pasadena and in Santa Monica, which I really liked Santa Monica and Venice area, but it was so expensive that my thinking is if I was going to move to LA, I would probably stay in Culver City. It looks pretty central. I kind of went through it a few times on the train, on the metro, and on the bus. And it just seems like a decent area and close to a lot of things. And I think the prices there are not so high, or, well, not as high as being in some of the more popular areas like Santa Monica, Venice, West Hollywood, Silver Lake, those kind of places. I think this is a little bit cheaper and it's so central that you can get around to a lot of those other areas quite quickly. Well, quickly by LA standards. I didn't have a car when I was in LA. I have some friends there, so from time to time they would pick me up and drop me off and take me around a little bit. But when I was on my own, I was taking the metro and the bus. LA to me seemed so big, I didn't want to use Ubers because I just felt it would be expensive going such long distances. So, there were times when I was taking the bus for, 2 hours to get from one place to the next. And I actually found it quite interesting because there's a lot of people watching you can do on the bus. It's fine for a short holiday, but or a medium to long holiday. But if I was living there, I wouldn't be able to do that. I would definitely want to get a car. But overall, I think it's not a bad option when you're in a pinch. There's something called a tap card. You can use a physical card, or you can put it on your phone and use it. Like for me, I was using it in Apple Pay. So if you're visiting, I recommend you check that out. Now, let's have a look at some of the areas I was going through, and I'll give you some commentary on the photos that I've taken. I've put some maps on here just to kind of help you visualize where in LA I was. I know that LA is so sprawling that it's often hard to kind of understand the relationship of different places. So I've kind of included these maps to help as I'm describing places to give you an idea of where they are if you're not very familiar with the city. So starting in Pasadena, we went to the Norton Simon Museum. They've got some great artwork inside, but actually we spend most of our time outside in the sculpture garden. The weather was really nice, so I really enjoyed just spending time there. And they've got an outside cafe, and that's what I did. Although I think it's also worth seeing the artwork inside, but outside is not to be missed. Another stop we made in Pasadena, and I think it's kind of downtown Pasadena, is Vroman's bookstore. It's a really nice bookstore, several levels, lots of books. There's a cafe in there. It was really, really nice, old bookstore, and that's another stop. I love bookstores. I highly recommend if you go there to have a stop off in Vroman's. Just down the street from Vroman's, we went to Earth Cafe. Really good menu. I think it's mostly organic, and lovely food. Another highly recommended spot. Another fun item we did, we went to a house party. It was like a housewarming party. It was, to me, I kind of felt like this was my quintessential LA experience, with lots of people with very different, interesting backgrounds. A lot of international people attending this party, so that was really nice to see. Once I left Pasadena, I went over to Santa Monica, and on the way we stopped off at Mulholland Drive. There's a scenic overlook that looks out over to the valley, and these are some shots from there. Also had to stop off for a food truck on Mulholland Drive. One day we stopped by Will Rogers State Park Beach. That's just in the northern side of Santa Monica. going up to Pacific Palisades. In fact, it's right on the border. I don't really know where it is, whether it's in Santa Monica or Pacific Palisades, but it's really nice. You get some great views of the beach, and they've got a really nice trail for running and biking that's separated that you can see. So if you rent a bike, it's a great place to go. Another place I visited was the Getty Villa. It's in Pacific Palisades, and it's just off this map, but I just wanted to keep the same map and not change it so that you could see where things were relative to each other, so I didn't bother expanding the map, but it's just off the edge of the map. Getty Villa is in a classical Italian style, and they have a lot of artwork there. It's a very, it's definitely worth a visit, very picturesque, very nice. It's a bit busy from a touristy perspective, and you have to make a reservation to park your car, but it's free to enter. And I think even with the reservation for the car, I think that's also free. You just have to have planned it. I think they just don't want to have too many visitors at any one time. Here are some shots from Venice, a couple blocks up from the beach. There's Abbot Kinney Road, and there's lots of really cute boutiques, coffee shops, and it makes a really nice day of just people watching, shopping, and eating. After doing my shopping and snacking, I then walked down to the beach. Where I was staying was in Santa Monica, but right on the Venice border. So basically, I walked along Abbot Kinney shopping, and then I came back, walked home along the beach. Now here's Santa Monica. This is where I was actually based for just over a month. It's by the water, and I was about 5 minutes from the beach, and they've got beautiful beach, lots of great neighborhoods and great cafes, small independent shops. And then there's also the downtown area, which has more chains, bigger, well-known brands, but also still very well kept, really pretty, really nice. Here's Palisades Park, which is also in Santa Monica. It sits atop a bluff overlooking the beach. It's got Highway 1 running along one side of it, but it's down low, so it doesn't block the view. It's still a really nice place to go. I highly recommend going and checking it out. From there, you can see the Santa Monica Pier and the ocean, and then you're just a couple blocks from a lot of great shopping in Santa Monica. While I was staying in Santa Monica, sometimes I would go down to the ocean at night. You've got great sunsets from there, and I would just sit out and just contemplate my life and thinking how lucky I was to have this opportunity to be spending so much time on holiday here in Santa Monica on the beach. And several nights I would just go down and just watch the sunset. And you get crowds of people also actually gathering to do the same, but the beach is so big that there's plenty of room and it doesn't feel crowded, at least not at this time of the year. I don't know what it's like in summer. There's also another nice area to go. It's Washington Street. It's kind of on the border of Venice and Marina del Rey. And they've got lots of great coffee shops, cafes, and some like trendy stores down there. And then there is the Venice Pier. So I went down there and just ate and walked around and sat on the beach. I actually did another video a couple weeks ago about Thanksgiving in LA, and that was filmed down by this Venice Marina del Rey border area. getting away from the beach for a bit, it was hard to tear myself away, but one place I did go a few times was Echo Park. It's a very funky, artsy type of area. I really like the vibe there. And there's a coffee shop there called Woodcat, which I went to several times. Really friendly, really nice scones. I would highly recommend it. And yeah, just a great vibe. To me, quintessential LA. Loved it. Another area I went was downtown LA. There's the Broad Museum, which I went and saw some really nice artwork there, so I highly recommend that. Another thing I like from downtown is the Grand Central Market. I'm not sure what it used to be, but it's sort of like this open air market where there's lots of different restaurants. It was great to go with friends because you can everyone can kind of decide what they want to eat and pick their own food, so you don't have to agree on the same thing, and lots of options. So really, really nice place. Another stop in downtown LA that I really liked was the Last Bookstore. It's a used bookstore. I don't think they have new books, but don't quote me on that. But they've got some couches, very comfortable, very nice. I think the area might be a little rough and tumble, so you have to be a bit careful. But I really like this bookstore, and another spot I think you should definitely consider visiting on a trip to LA. So that's it. These are my highlights, the places I visited. I didn't talk about some of the places because I didn't film. I didn't have any photos that I felt I wanted to share of those areas, but you can see from the map, here's the places that I went. And as I mentioned in the introduction, if I were to move to LA, I think I would really have a look at Culver City. It seems quite central. And while it's not at the beach, I don't think I could afford to go to the beach, but it's pretty easy to get to the beach. It's easy to get to, Hollywood. It's easy to get to Silver Lake, further east, and it has a metro stop. So I think it's some place to consider. So there you go. These are places that I visited while I was in LA. I had a great time, and I think these are some places you should have a look at if you ever plan to visit or move to LA. Thanks. Bye-bye.